Last night I dreamed. I got plenty of sleep last night. Way more than I even really needed. I think I got 9.5 hours. But this long night of rest thankfully resulted in a long and complex dream. Actually, the dream was so long and detailed that the moment I woke up, I had to jot down some notes about it for you all, because I didn't... See, I hate when I think I have one of my dreams completely committed to memory so that I can recite them to you later, and then after I do a few things in the afternoon, maybe wash dishes, have a conversation with my brother, listen to a Detroit Tigers game, all of a sudden I can't remember certain aspects of it, and I hate that. So didn't want to risk that this morning, and yeah, wrote down some notes here. The dream started off with me wandering through the receiving area of a big, old, abandoned grocery store. Just like anybody else does, right? I don't know. But eventually I wandered into a small pizza place, and my younger brother and my friend Anthony were already in there. They'd already placed an order, and this pizza place had an amazing deal going. I mean, you got a lot of food for very little money, and I was only there for 1 or 2 minutes, just catching up with the two of them before the owner of this establishment placed their order on the counter. And Anthony paid for the order, and he paid with a check. And this owner, he was a little guy, this little diminutive proprietor, took the check, and he looked at it in amazement, and he held it up to the light almost to, I mean, it looked like he was checking for authenticity, the way that you can to see if a bill is counterfeit. He held it up to the light, and he looked at us and he said, "No fortuna?" And he held it up again to the light, and he said again, "No fortuna?" And then he held it up to the light again, and he just kept examining every small detail of this check that Anthony had written for him, and we just quietly grabbed the contents of our order and quietly walked out of that place. And as soon as we got outside, Anthony asked me, I mean, what do you think he meant by no fortuna? And I said, well, I don't know what he meant, to be honest with you, but I do know that Fortuna was the Roman goddess of luck. And I only know that, by the way, because of the book Confederacy of Dunces, which I love. It's one of my favorites. And then I think I guessed that maybe his country of origin was Italy, just because Fortuna was the name of a Roman goddess. I don't know. But anyways, we walked back to Anthony's place. We ate. Not much was said after that, and I left his house on foot and just kind of wandered around the neighborhood, and I eventually wound up in a small bank in downtown Royal Oak, Michigan. It was nighttime at this point, and I walked over toward a meeting that the owner and president of the bank, Hulk Hogan, was having with an account holder. And the account holder was late actor, see another deceased celebrity, cameo. It was late actor Raymond Burr, you know, Perry Mason, Godzilla. And Hogan made it clear that Raymond Burr's regular deposits that were coming from his own illegal activities, the nature of which I never found out, those deposits would be used to purchase, transport, and distribute drugs. And that as long as his account remained open with them, he would receive a percentage of the profits from all of Hulk Hogan's drug trafficking. And the additional revenue would just be lumped under accrued interest, you know, for the sake of keeping the books looking clean. And, you know what's funny is that Hulk Hogan, Raymond Burr, and all of the employees of the bank, they seemed to know me. They felt comfortable with me sitting in on this little business meeting. And yeah, Raymond Burr seemed pleased with the arrangement. He shook hands with Hogan, and he left. And right after he left, I looked to my left, and I noticed a disgruntled-looking bank employee, and apparently this guy just had strong reservations about what Hogan was doing, because he picked up a guitar, and he started strumming a tune and singing a song about how his boss was a total scumbag and he shouldn't be doing this, and if he could, he would be getting a different job because he doesn't want to be surrounded by these nefarious activities. And this guy must have really had something on Hogan, because Hogan just didn't even seem to mind. He just wasn't perturbed by this song at all. He just looked at the guy and half smiled and just went about his business. Well, a few days later, I returned to Hulk Hogan's bank just to see how Hulkster was doing, and he was upset, but he wasn't really upset. He told me that Raymond Burr wanted out of the deal, and he said, "Don't worry about it all, brother. I've got everything worked out here. I'm going to keep his account open, and I found out where the dude parks all of his expensive vehicles. It's in this private parking lot. We're going to send him a little message today, brother." And then he opened a drawer in his desk, and he pulled out this ridiculous-looking pink beard that he told me he'd bought from a Halloween costume supply shop. He said, "All right, let's go, brother." And me and about like 4 or 5 other employees from Hulk Hogan's bank, we hopped in some pickup trucks and we drove to this private parking lot. It was fenced in, where Raymond Burr had all of his most expensive vehicles parked. And then I'm sorry, I just ate an apple here. And sorry, but anyways, somebody just drove right through the locked gate, and we just followed him. And we just started ramming all of Raymond Burr's parked vehicles with these rusty old pickup trucks. I mean, just demolishing his vehicles, just ramming them, backing up, ramming them again. And at one point there was a young lady, I remember she was wearing a white t-shirt. She was just parking a limousine of Raymond Burr's, and she was getting out of this limousine, and she got out of the way of one of our oncoming pickup trucks just in time before this limousine was T-boned by one of our drivers. Actually, it was Hulk Hogan that was driving this one. And I remember her, after the impact, calmly walking over to the driver's side door, motioning for Hogan to roll the window down or push the button for the window to go down. And he did. And she very calmly said that she intended to sue him. And I was impressed by how calm she had remained, but at the same time I was thinking, God, Hogan, you are an idiot. Everybody can tell it's you. I mean, there's a reason why she didn't ask for any contact information or take a photo of you or write down your license plate number, because she knows, hey, it's Hulk Hogan that almost killed me. Anyways, after that happened, I left the private parking lot by foot, was walking the streets downtown, and I got picked up by Kurt Russell. Except in this dream, Kurt Russell's name was Eddie, and he was a drug dealer. I got in the back seat and said, "Hey, what's going on, Eddie? How you doing?" He's like, "Oh, I'm doing all right, man. I mean, same old business here. Actually, speaking of business, I got to pick up some drugs and supplies and some supplies from this one dude who's waiting for me on this corner. So hang tight." And he kind of sped away, and sure enough, the guy with the drugs and whatever the supplies were was waiting on a corner for Eddie/Kurt Russell. And instead of letting him into the vehicle, Eddie/Kurt Russell took a cell phone call, and the guy with the drugs and supplies on the street corner got really impatient. He pounded on the window and said, "Come on, your time's up, Eddie." So Kurt/Eddie abruptly ended the phone call and let this guy in. They made their little transaction. Drug supplier left the vehicle. He didn't close the door behind him. Kurt/Eddie had to lean over the seat and close the door, and we rode on for a little bit, and finally, Kurt/Eddie said to me, "Hey, I've got this album I want you to listen to." And he pulled out this CD that was still in its jewel case that was resting in his little ashtray, and he passed it back to me. I looked at it and said, "Yeah, I'll give it a listen, man. As a matter of fact, you're right by my house here. You can let me out now." So yeah, he pulled over. I got out. I walked home. And I popped in the CD, and I remember the album started with an introduction by Johnny Carson. And Johnny Carson was ripping on whoever this musical artist was. For some reason, I want to say it's Kylie Minogue. I'm not sure about that, but I'm thinking Kylie Minogue. And I just remember Johnny Carson saying in this introduction that this album was about as good as Spoiled Milk and about as popular as Alf is now. And then I woke up.